The US is at it again. In its war against the Al-Qaeda, it is seeking to base military drones along the West African coast. Where exactly, you ask? Let's just have a look at this map. Here, in countries along the Atlantic coast, the US wants to use the airfields of Ghana, the Ivory Coast and Benin. You see, these coastal countries, along with Togo, are relatively stable. But now they are threatened by jihadists surging south from Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger in the Sahel region. What exactly would these unarmed drones do? Let me break it down for you. They would basically allow the American forces to conduct aerial surveillance and to trace the movements of the militants along the coast. They would also provide tactical advice to the local troops during operations. You see, where the US does not want to deploy troops, it is deploying drones to do the job. Now, there was a time when drones would just play a supporting role in the military operations, but now they have become a very crucial part of modern warfare. We've been telling you about this. Just have a look at what's going on around us. Two wars are going on. Drones have played a key role in both of these wars. In the Ukraine war, Russia started firing Shahed drones into Ukraine in September 2022. Between then and last month, it had sent around 3,700 deep into Ukrainian territories. In fact, just earlier this week, in the early hours of the new year, Russia launched a record 90 Shahed-type drones across major Ukrainian cities. And you see, these drones are cheaply produced in Iran. Initially, they confused Ukraine's air defense. They were harder for standard radars to detect as compared to missiles. And when Ukraine did actually figure it out, it faced a dilemma. As I told you, the drones are very cheap to produce. And by cheap, I mean around $20,000 per drone. But the defense missiles used to intercept them are not. All in all, reining in these drones was a costly affair, and Kiev had to adapt. It now uses vehicles with mounted machine guns to shoot down the drones. Not just that, the US has also armed Ukraine with switchblade kamikaze drones. And in Gaza, Israel has used drones to pound Hamas from a safe distance. The big ones carry out constant surveillance of the strip, and the smaller ones get much closer to the action. One such example is the Extender. It is designed for indoor and underground operations. It can easily get into the buildings and the tunnels of Gaza. And just a day ago, a drone strike in Beirut killed senior Hamas official Saleh al-Aruri. We told you about that. Hamas is no less. It has its own modified drones. When it attacked Israel on October 7, a fleet of drones filled the Israeli skies. These drones are available online, by the way, for just $6,500. They were rigged to carry explosives and knockout cameras, communication systems, remote-controlled guns. Together, they defeated Israel's $1 billion border defense. And this, you see, was a wake-up call. The deadly potential of drones was on wide display for the world. Drones are changing the course of wars, to say the least. Sure, they have been around for over 2 decades now, but today a new generation of cheap, commercially available systems is emerging, and it is basically challenging some of the world's most technologically advanced forces. They have become indispensable for modern military operations. They provide better surveillance, precise targeting, they are safe, convenient, and most importantly, they are cheap and flexible. And their role is only going to expand as far as warfare is concerned. How are the militaries around the world adapting is the question. The US has opened a specialized drone warfare school. You heard that right. It is basically teaching the American troops how to defend against drones. It is the first academy of its kind. Some 1,000 personnel will be trained every year. Meanwhile, the NATO collectively owns and operates 5 large high-altitude long-endurance systems. I'm talking about NATO's Alliance Ground Surveillance. It is composed of 5 NATO Phoenix remotely piloted aircraft, along with a series of associated ground command and control stations. And these systems continuously detect and track moving objects like drones. As for India, reports say the government is planning to install an anti-drone system along the country's western border. Not only would that defend the country from drone attacks, but also from increasing drug menace from neighbor Pakistan, which often drops packets of opium and heroin using drones. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.